Have you ever met someone who just switched one day, and suddenly their entire life looked nothing like it used to? New habits, new confidence, new direction? Almost like they installed a whole new operating system in their brain. Here's the weird part. Most people think that level of transformation takes years. But the people who actually do it, they know a secret. A secret that lets you completely rebuild your mindset in just 90 days. And no, this isn't manifestation or toxic positivity, and it's definitely not just hustle harder. It's something way stranger. Something backed by neuroscience. Something most people sabotage every single morning without even realizing it. And in about 20 seconds, I'm going to show you the exact process. But first, let me tell you about a guy I know who went from stuck, broke, and crawling with self-doubt to someone I barely recognized 3 months later. And the craziest part? His entire transformation started with something so tiny, you're probably gonna laugh. So this guy, let's call him Dan, was stuck. Like, really stuck. Late night scrolling, slamming the snooze button like it personally offended him, telling everyone he had potential while proving absolutely nothing. Then one day, someone told him a rule so simple, it almost made him angry. For 90 days, don't break promises to yourself, no matter how small. That was it. That was the whole rule. So he tried it. And guess what the first promise was? Drink 1 glass of water when you wake up. Not a gallon, not a new diet, just 1 glass. And here's where it gets crazy. Dan told me that tiny little ritual felt like plugging a USB cable into his brain and installing a new identity update. The water wasn't the point. What happened after the water was. But before I explain why that tiny promise flipped his mindset, you need to understand the real enemy you're fighting in this 90-day transformation. Because it's not procrastination, and it's definitely not just hustle harder. It's something way sneakier. The invisible attachment. Your brain has this weird automatic system that keeps you stuck in the same patterns even when you want to change. It's called an identity loop. And here's the creepy part. You don't control it. It controls you. If you secretly believe you're bad with discipline, your brain will subtly push you to behave in ways that prove you're bad with discipline. Not on purpose, not consciously. It just happens on autopilot. And here's the twist. Dan didn't lack motivation. He lacked identity momentum. He was trapped in what I call identity inertia. The invisible force that keeps dragging you back to the person you've been, even when you're trying to become someone new. In a minute, I'll show you exactly how to break that inertia so you can build a brand new identity in just 90 days. But first, let me show you the weird effect that tiny morning promise had on Dan's brain, the moment the mind cracked. By day 11, something happened. He goes, "Dude, every time I drink that water, I feel like I'm proving something." And he was. He was proving something to his brain's internal judge, the part of your mind that constantly asks, are you the type of person who follows through? Humans don't become confident from motivational speeches. We become confident from evidence. Every action you take is a vote for the kind of person you believe you are. So after 11 days of drinking 1 tiny glass of water, Dan's brain started whispering, hold up, maybe you are someone who sticks to things. That tiny whisper is the moment the identity loop cracks. That's when the transformation actually begins. But if it were this easy, everyone would be transformed by now, right? So here comes phase 2, the dangerous one, the one almost everyone quits, the 3-week wall, the point where 90% fail. Around day 21, Dan hit what I call the 3-week wall. He woke up one morning and felt absolutely nothing. No progress, no motivation, no excitement, just that familiar annoying voice, "Why are you doing this? This isn't working." Most people think the wall means they're failing. But here's the twist. The wall is actually a sign your brain is rewiring itself. You're old identity, the one that kept you stuck, starts panicking and tries to pull you back to your comfort zone.
Not because it hates you, but because it's familiar. Every transformation hits this point. The people who make it through, they know the rule. When it feels pointless, you're only about 48 hours away from a breakthrough. And sure enough, 2 days later, Dan woke up feeling like something in his brain had clicked. He said, "For the first time in years, I actually trust myself." But he wasn't done. He was different, but not transformed yet. That comes in phase 2. And this is where everything accelerates. Phase 2, the 1% rule that multiplies. Once Dan built trust through that tiny promise, I told him to add a new one. Something small, something 1% better, like 5 minutes of reading, a 2-minute stretch, writing a single sentence, cleaning one tiny spot in his room. Insanely small improvements. But here's the wild part. Tiny changes don't stay tiny. They stack. They combine. They snowball. By day 35, Dan wasn't doing one small habit. He was doing several, without forcing anything. By day 50, he said it felt like his brain was downloading updates. By day 60, his friends were asking, "Bro, what happened to you?" And then comes the moment that feels like magic, but is actually just neuroscience doing its thing. Day 67. The identity switch flips. Somewhere around day 67, you stop trying to change, and you simply are the new version of yourself. Your posture changes, your decisions change, your standards change. You stop explaining yourself. You stop arguing with your excuses. You stop negotiating with your old habits. Dan told me, "It's like I became allergic to the old me." That moment is the identity switch. Once it flips, you don't need discipline. Your brain just defaults to the new behaviors. But here's the final twist. The biggest change doesn't happen in your habits. It happens in your story. The story rewrite. For most of Dan's life, his internal story was, "I'm inconsistent. I can't stick to anything. I'm easily distracted. I'm not that type of person." But after 90 days, his story became, "I follow through. I build momentum. I trust myself. I keep promises." And here's the mind-blowing truth. Your life always follows your story. Change your story, and everything else follows. So here's the full 90-day transformation process. Simple, not overwhelming. The 90-day mindset transformation method. Phase 1. Days 1 to 30. One tiny, non-negotiable promise daily. Make it laughably easy. Phase 2. Days 31 to 60. Add 1% improvement each week. Let it snowball. Phase 3. Day 61 to 90. Rewrite your story. Speak it. Act like it for 30 days straight. By day 90, you won't want to go back, because this isn't faking it. It's not forcing anything. It's simply becoming someone new. The final payoff. A new mindset isn't something you wait for. It's something you build. One tiny promise at a time. One glass of water. One small vote for the person you want to become. And if you start that today, 90 days from now, you might not even recognize yourself. If you want the 90-day checklist, the tiny promise ideas, and the weekly momentum plan, just say, "Give me the 90-day plan."